Coach Stephanie White is reshaping Caitlin Clark's game from the ground up. From fixing predictability to building ambidextrous finishing and managing fatigue with smarter positioning, Clark is evolving into an entirely new kind of WNBA superstar. Let's dive into the key insights from White's podcast appearance and what it means for Clark's next season.
Coach Stephanie White of the Indiana Fever goes on the Good Follow podcast and talks about Caitlin Clark's development, her techs for next season, at least like what she wants them to be, and a lot more of the Indiana Fever.
Indiana Fever head coach Stephanie White has crafted what can only be described as a revolutionary blueprint for Caitlin Clark's growth heading into the upcoming WNBA season. Rather than make minor tweaks, White is dismantling and rebuilding Clark's game from its very foundation, like rediscovering the missing cornerstone in an architectural marvel. Her goal? To reprogram Clark's instincts and eliminate the predictable patterns that elite defenders have begun to exploit. No more leaning on the well-worn right side drives and signature left step-back jumpers. White is surgically re-engineering Clark's offensive toolkit, focusing heavily on sharpening her ability to finish at the rim with a broader array of moves, while also unlocking her potential as a constant off-ball threat. This is not just skill development, it's a metamorphosis, a total reinvention of how Clark attacks the floor. White is scripting a new version of Clark, one that will be far less readable, far more dangerous, and nearly impossible to defend.
So, in watching Stephanie White talk about Caitlin Clark's development, it was very fascinating to get her take on it as an actual coach.
What Stephanie White has put into motion is nothing short of a complete basketball transformation, an all-inclusive, high-level overhaul of Caitlin Clark's game. This is not a patch or a polish, this is evolution in real time. Every element, from footwork to finishing, from defensive engagement to off-ball impact, is being fine-tuned with precision. The wheels of change are already turning. We are witnessing the first steps of a process that promises to launch Clark's game into a new stratosphere. There's a quiet storm brewing beneath the surface of her workouts, and it's only a matter of time before it erupts into something spectacular on the court. Fans, analysts, and defenders alike should take notice. The version of Caitlin Clark we see next season may be her most unpredictable and most dangerous yet.
We already know that Caitlin has put on some strength and muscle. She had that viral picture.
Yeah, you saw that, yeah.
By now, nearly everyone has seen it, the viral image that ignited a firestorm across social media. Caitlin Clark, standing confidently with a physique sculpted by months of tireless strength training, looking every bit like a superhero in the making. Her arms flex with muscle definition that had fans questioning if what they were seeing was even real. Speculation swirled. Was this a digitally enhanced image? AI trickery? Coach Stephanie White addressed the buzz head-on during her revealing appearance on the Good Follow podcast. She set the record straight. Yes, the photo is 100% authentic, and no, it was not altered in any way. What the world saw was the raw result of Clark's relentless off-season grind. This wasn't digital fantasy, it was physical reality. Much like a cinematic montage revealing the hero's new form, Clark's transformation signals not just a physical leap, but a mental one as well. She's preparing her body to withstand the bruising physicality of the league, and this new strength is the foundation for the breakout campaign that lies ahead. Her commitment to becoming unshakable, literally and figuratively, might just be the secret weapon that propels her to superstardom in her sophomore season. Caitlin Clark's physical transformation didn't happen in a vacuum. It's a direct response to the reality she faced in her rookie WNBA campaign. Throughout that inaugural season, defenders didn't just guard her, they imposed their will, using brute strength to knock her off balance and disrupt her rhythm when the game mattered most. It wasn't a matter of talent. It was about force, about being able to stand your ground when the court turns into a battlefield. Coach Stephanie White saw it early and saw it clearly. She marked it as a critical weakness, not in Clark's skill, but in her physical resistance. And now, we're seeing the solution unfold in real time. The new Clark is built different literally. Stronger, sturdier, and far more grounded, she's no longer the easy target opponents once nudged off her spot. She's a stone pillar now, a player ready to absorb the hits and still deliver the dagger. This isn't just progress, it's a total upgrade that positions Clark not only to survive the league's physical intensity, but to thrive in it. She's no longer reacting to the contact. She's ready to push back.
What aspects of her game would you like to work with her on for this season?
Yeah, I mean, certainly getting stronger was one. The level of physicality in the W is totally different. That's the way that teams have to try to keep her off balance.
What's perhaps most astonishing about Clark's growth is the sheer speed with which she's adapted to this rigorous new development arc. From the moment the blueprint was laid out, she locked in like a seasoned veteran with a championship to chase. Coach Stephanie White vividly recalls their earliest training sessions, moments that now feel almost prophetic. "We started with the basics, balance, and footwork on day 1, White said. By day 2, she had it mastered. That's not just talent. That's obsession. That's the kind of relentless, minute-by-minute pursuit of perfection that separates the good from the great." White sees something rare in Clark's mentality, something eerily reminiscent of another icon. She doesn't hesitate to invoke the name of Kobe Bryant, a player whose legendary work ethic and surgical attention to detail defined an era. Clark, she believes, channels that same energy, the hunger to improve, the refusal to settle, the obsession with getting 1% better every single day. It's more than a compliment, it's a declaration. With this level of discipline and drive, Clark isn't merely adjusting to the demands of the league. She's positioning herself to redefine them. And if her trajectory continues like this, the WNBA isn't just getting a star, it's getting a storm.
Keeping a low center of gravity. There are times where she plays a little bit upright, making sure core strength and her ability to move with time under tension and stay in a low center of gravity is important. Lateral movement. Like one of the challenges that we're coming to her with right away is on the defensive end of the floor. Use your size, use your length. You've got to that's got to be a priority, right? That's got to be a priority to play both ends, because we don't have to go from 11 or 12 to 1 or 2.
Clark's body, once seen as a vulnerability under WNBA-level physicality, has undergone a remarkable transformation. But what most fans saw as just a stronger physique was, in reality, only the surface layer of a much deeper overhaul. This evolution isn't simply about biceps and core strength. It's about recalibrating her entire game from the ground up. The days when Clark was bumped off balance under the rim, nudged out of her rhythm by defenders built like tanks, may finally be over. But while the added muscle certainly answers one of the league's biggest questions about her toughness, it was far from the only issue that needed fixing. Coach Stephanie White, the architect of this comprehensive transformation, saw a different, more subtle problem emerging, a strategic flaw that had nothing to do with strength and everything to do with predictability. As Clark's rookie season progressed, opposing teams began to crack the code. WNBA defenses, composed of veterans with high IQs and miles of tape to study, started recognizing Clark's patterns. Her once lethal offensive instincts became readable, even familiar. And that, in a league this competitive, is a death sentence. It wasn't just that defenders were reacting to her, it was that they knew what she was going to do before she did it. Like chess masters moving 3 steps ahead, they waited for the right drive or the left step-back jumper, then pounced. On the Good Follow podcast, Coach White spoke with startling candor about this emerging vulnerability. She detailed how, again and again, Clark would drive to her right, a tendency that eventually became more of a tell than a weapon. When going left, she favored a signature step-back jumper, a move that once dazzled but began to falter as defenders anticipated it more and more. From a basketball perspective, White said, "Our job now is to help her diversify. It's not about changing who she is. It's about unlocking who she can be. In other words, it's about taking Clark's raw genius and giving it more dimensions." Because in the WNBA, where every defender watches hours of film and every coach builds game plans with surgical precision, predictability becomes the enemy of greatness. The numbers back up White's concerns. In the final 10 games of her rookie season, Clark's signature step-back jumper was contested 22% more frequently than in her first 10 outings. That's not a coincidence. It's a testament to how fast the league adapts, and how quickly a star can be neutralized if their game doesn't evolve. Defenders began overplaying her right hand on drives, forcing her into uncomfortable positions. Others would step hard into her left space, taking away the air she needed for that smooth, arching step back. What once played like poetry in motion turned into a battle against suffocating defenses. The WNBA had her scouting report down cold. That's why White's new blueprint for Clark is so crucial and so exciting. It's not just about bulking up. It's about breaking the mold. Her development plan is methodical and all-encompassing. She's pushing Clark to become truly ambidextrous, especially when it comes to finishing at the rim with her left hand. The goal is simple: eliminate the patterns, destroy the predictability, and build a version of Caitlin Clark that is impossible to anticipate. Because once defenders can no longer read her next move, once they have to guess instead of react, Clark won't just be back on the highlight reels. She'll be redefining what's possible at the professional level. It's a transformation not just of the body, but of the mind and muscle memory. The new Caitlin Clark won't telegraph her steps. She'll glide right or attack left. She'll slash through the lane, pull up, dish out, or rise for a shot that no one saw coming. And when that happens, when Clark becomes truly unreadable, there won't be a defense in the league that can contain her. Caitlin Clark is on the verge of becoming even more dangerous, more elusive, more dynamic, and far more difficult to scheme against. Last season, even among the best of the best, the cream of the WNBA crop, defenders started to catch on to certain patterns. They studied her tendencies like a textbook. Clark, right-hand dominant, often preferred to drive hard to her right, and when she pulled up, it was almost always a left step-back jumper. Predictable? Maybe. Defendable? Barely. But Coach Stephanie White wasn't content to let predictability live in Clark's game. She's systematically dismantling every habit, rebuilding her from the ground up like a master sculptor refining a masterpiece that's already close to perfect. In off-season workout clips, sharp eyes caught Clark developing her left hand, stepping right, and embracing the discomfort of the unfamiliar. That's not just tweaking a game, it's reshaping it at the molecular level. White's mission is simple yet transformative: to ensure Clark becomes a fully ambidextrous offensive weapon, a scorer and facilitator who can punish defenses equally from either side of the floor. No more funneling her into awkward angles. No more baiting her into tough reads. Once she becomes as confident attacking left as she is right, defenses will have no safe haven. And it doesn't stop at directional dominance. White is injecting Clark's finishing package with new layers: crossbody scoops, quick floaters, long floaters, even the deadly Euro step. Imagine the chaos. A stronger Clark barrels downhill, and just when the defender thinks she's got the angle sealed, Clark pivots into a silky Euro, defender frozen, fans erupting, points on the board. One move, endless ripple effects. And here's the kicker: this isn't just theoretical. According to Coach White, Clark's progress with her left hand is tangible. It's real, and it's forcing a complete recalibration of how teams will have to defend her. That one shift, ambidexterity, changes everything. Defenders who once leaned into her dominant hand now must square up and pray. That moment of hesitation, that half-second of uncertainty, that's all Clark needs. With her elite scoring instincts and now an enhanced physical toolkit, she'll feast on indecision. While no one expects her to instantly mirror her right-hand excellence on the left, after all, it took LeBron James nearly a decade to do so, Clark is already accelerating that timeline. Even incremental gains in this department will make her nearly impossible to contain. But Coach White's genius doesn't end at ball handling or footwork. She's addressing an even more nuanced and vital aspect of Clark's development: her conditioning under pressure. Last season exposed a brutal truth: by the fourth quarter, Clark often looked gassed. Her legs betrayed her, her shot came up short, and her influence waned. Fatigue didn't just slow her, it made her predictable. She'd either bring the ball up every time or stand in the corner, ineffective either way. White saw the pattern and decided to change the game, not by limiting Clark's minutes, but by maximizing her presence. The solution? A revolutionary off-ball strategy. White's vision borrows from the Golden State Warriors' Steph Curry playbook, unleashing Clark as a screener, a cutter, a roaming threat moving through the third and fourth sides of the court. It's about attacking defenses from angles they don't anticipate. Instead of isolating at the top or disappearing in the corner, Clark becomes a ghost, appearing unexpectedly, shifting gravity, and breaking the rhythm of opposing game plans. It's not just smart, it's surgical. And while she's moving in these spaces, she's also conserving energy. She can rest while staying dangerous. This new system does more than just hide her fatigue. It weaponizes it. Instead of running Clark into the ground with constant on-ball responsibilities, White is finding ways to keep her active and effective without burning out. Clark becomes a decoy, a threat, a facilitator, all in one. Every screen she sets triggers a dilemma: switch and risk her attacking a mismatch, or stay and risk a wide-open shot. Her movement becomes chaos for defenses, her presence a constant calculation. And let's not forget, the execution is already ahead of schedule. White vividly remembers those early days in the gym. Day 1, we're working on balance and footwork. Day 2, she's got it, White said. That perfectionist streak in Clark isn't just rare, it's historic. She wants it. She chases it. She grinds for it. Every practice, every drill, she shortens the long list of things to improve, bit by bit, day by day, until the impossible starts looking routine. There's a quiet brilliance behind Stephanie White's new offensive vision for Caitlin Clark, one that's as strategic as it is revolutionary. It's rooted in a simple yet powerful truth. Clark doesn't need to have the ball in her hands at all times to dominate a game. In fact, sometimes the most dangerous player is the one moving without it. When defenders choose to fight through a screen set by Clark, they immediately expose a weakness. The player she's screening for often ends up wide open, capitalizing on the chaos Clark's presence alone creates. It's a lose-lose scenario for defenses, either give up space or give up rhythm, because in either case, Clark is dictating the terms. And she's doing it without needing to dribble once. This tactical shift is more than just a play call. It's a philosophical change in how a superstar can lead. White sees the long game. She's not just coaching for the first quarter. She's coaching for that critical stretch when legs are heavy and decisions become harder, the fourth quarter. And that's where this plan becomes genius. Rather than relying on Clark to orchestrate every offensive possession, a burden that's proven exhausting over the course of a grueling 40-minute battle, White is diversifying her role, offering Clark moments of strategic rest without ever taking her off the floor. Some coaches demand their stars shoulder everything, wear the cape, and carry the load. But White, she's building something smarter. She understands that burnout is real, and in the high-stakes, physically unforgiving environment of the WNBA, sustainability isn't just a luxury, it's survival. She's going to get burned out, White has admitted, candidly acknowledging the toll Clark's all-consuming offensive role has taken in the past, particularly in the late stages of games when fatigue steals a player's edge. The solution? A subtle, calculated shift, off-ball movement, tactical spacing, and trust in her teammates. By allowing Clark to influence the game without demanding she control every moment, White isn't limiting her star, she's liberating her. And this isn't just about one season. This is legacy building. This is how you evolve a phenomenon into a force of nature. The off-ball Caitlin Clark isn't a lesser version, it's a deadlier one. She's sneakier, less predictable, harder to track, and far more sustainable. Think of it as a chess master moving a queen, not to charge headlong into danger, but to maneuver into a devastating angle. White's approach is multidimensional. It makes Clark more effective and elevates the players around her. Because when Clark isn't the sole focus of the offense, she becomes an even bigger threat, lurking, ready to strike when the defense's attention lapses. What makes this transformation all the more thrilling is Clark's own embrace of it. Her perfectionist nature, so often the engine behind her greatness, is now propelling her into this new chapter with remarkable speed. White has marveled at how quickly Clark has absorbed the changes, noting stark improvements from one practice to the next. It's as though Clark isn't just learning, she's evolving in real time, molding herself into something far more complex and difficult to defend. The vision Stephanie White is implementing is a blueprint for brilliance. It calms the doubters who bristle at the idea of Clark playing off the ball, because this isn't about taking anything away from her. It's about giving her more. More options. More weapons. More ways to hurt you. This is how basketball geniuses are built, not by repeating what's already working, but by fearlessly expanding into the unknown. White is reshaping Clark into something defenders won't recognize next season. We're not just watching a player get stronger, we're witnessing the forging of a complete offensive weapon. A multi-layered threat who can drive, pass, shoot, screen, cut, and confuse. Add in her physical transformation, the new muscle mass, the sharper instincts, and the growing unpredictability, and what you have isn't just a player, you have a problem for every coach in the league. Caitlin Clark is becoming something entirely new, something terrifying, something legendary in the making. And if you're not already anticipating her return next season, you should be, because the next chapter of her journey isn't just about highlights. It's about domination. From physical transformation to tactical reinvention, Caitlin Clark's evolution under Coach White is already turning heads. If you're ready to see this next-level version of Clark take the league by storm, type CC in the comments, hit like, and subscribe for more updates.